Okay, so we talked last week about added tone chords, and I think what we'll do is we'll take a progression, E minor with an added second, and let's see what the F sharp minute, so it's a fourth, and B minor chord, and let's take D. The pedal tones will, G and the B will kind of assume as added tones. So let's take that progression and let's try soloing in E minor. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so our concept today is triad inversions, and there's three different positions we can see a triad stacked up in, because a triad is a root, third, and a fifth. We took the chord A minor here, and we know that A is the root, C is the third, E is the fifth. When we see this chord stacked up in what's called root position, that means the root of the chord is in the bass, or it's the lowest note. It doesn't matter how low it is, it's just the lowest of the three notes sounding at that time. So A is the lowest out of all three of these notes in this stacking on the staff here. So we write it in popular music symbols as just A minor. In the figured bass symbols, the Roman numeral symbols, if we were in the key of A minor, hypothetically, this would of course be the one chord, and you'd see no accompanying numbers next to it. Like I wrote down here, because it's just kind of recognized and kind of understood. It's implicit, I guess, that it's just the one chord's root position. The other important thing to know about this is whether we write these out or play them in closed or open position, it doesn't make any difference. It's the bottom note that's important. Or what I mean by that is closed position, we have them all stacked in order. A, the next note's C, the next note's E, they're all as close as they can get to each other. But on the guitar, sometimes we have to have a more open position. We could have maybe A, and then the E, and then the C could be way up here. Still A minor, right? We could have more A's and more C's. We could orchestrate this thing for a full orchestra and have bassoons playing A's and tubas playing A's and scatter everybody else all over the place. Have clarinets playing C's and piccolo playing E. It doesn't matter. Whatever the lowest note is, that's what determines, okay, this position. So for the next possibility, we have what's called first inversion, and that occurs when the third of the chord is in the bass. So in this case, the third of the chord is the C. You see C down here, E, and then A is up here. In a popular music symbol, and you've seen these a lot of times, you'll see the name of the chord, a slash, and then the bass note indicated here. That's why we see A minor slash C. And then the same thing happens over here with second inversion. I'll get back to these. E is the only other note left to appear in the bass. Again, it doesn't matter where these upper notes are. It could be anything they want to be. It could be A's, C's, scattered in any order. It's the bass note that's important. Bass note's a fifth. Fifth of the chord is in the bass. We call that second inversion. And the slash symbols here, the popular music symbols, are A minor slash E. The figured bass symbols, though, getting back to those, if we were in the key of A minor and we wanted to indicate these, you'd see the 1 because it's still the 1 chord, still A minor. But the 6 next to it indicates that the outer intervals here are actually the interval of 6. You know that in a chord, in a triad, there's only a root, third, and a fifth. It's still that way. But the way it's stacked on the staff here the way we'd actually play it, is that the outer intervals, C up to A, would be a sixth, right? C, D, E, F, G, A. And then this one over here for second inversion, we usually indicate with a 6-4, because the outer intervals will be a sixth, E up to C, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then E to A would be a
4.
You got it, E, F, G, A. So it's that simple. What if we were in the key of, say, I don't know, E minor, maybe hypothetically, and we had this chord set up right here? Well, we'd still write the popular music symbols the same way. It's still an A minor chord with a C in the bass. But what Roman numeral would you see? What Roman numeral would you see? I'm not saying this right. If we were in E minor. Think of the root of this chord.
So would it be a 5th or a 5? Or...
Be close. You'd have E, count your way up to the A.
Oh.
I don't think I was saying it right. It's my fault.
So it'd be a 4.
It'd be the 4 chord.
Right.
So like if we were in the key of E minor, that would be a 4 chord, 6. It'd be a 4-6 chord. That's how the lingo usually goes. Like if I'm asking somebody else, another musician, to, hey, I'm in the key of E minor, I want you to play the 4-6. That should tell somebody, I want you to play A minor with C in the bass. Make sense?
Yeah.
So we can see these with whatever the chord is. But the symbols for root position are nothing usually for a root position chord when the root's in the bass. A 6 will accompany the Roman numeral if we're in first inversion, and then a 6-4 will accompany it if it's in second inversion. We could actually see 5-3 to indicate root position, but it's kind of implicit that one would know that you have a root, a third, and a fifth. It's just, it is there, so we don't usually write those. And then in the case of this one, where we see just a 6 for first inversion, it's also...
There's a third,
Yeah.
obviously.
Right, there's no other possibility. So these are the symbols for those, and that's the reasoning behind it, the rationale behind it. What we do with these, though, is extremely important, because when we play guitar, popular musicians will typically play, like in rock stuff, we're going to move from one chord to another one with power chords, so all these fifths go in parallel motion. Or what you see a lot too, this whole chord is moving in parallel motion. All these notes are going to the same places all together, so there's no need for this kind of use. But if you watch a keyboardist play, what you often see is these chords moving from one place to another, and you see the most minimal amount of movement because some of these chords are inverted, and that's how we get this really smooth transition from one chord to another.